Hello, I thought today I'd do a video on Gallo's watercolour paints. I bought a set of 12 first of all, and it comes in this beautiful packaging. It's a lovely cardboard outer box. And we're told that they are handcrafted honey watercolours made from highest quality pigments, gum arabic from the acacia tree, local honey from Umbria, and rosemary essential oil. So under the tissue layer there's this beautiful marbled watercolour paper wrapper. And then you have a watercolour paper little swatch card, and then these 12 colours. I've taken these out. This is just the watercolour wrappers that come around each one, which are watercolour paper that have been painted with the actual paints. I bought these from Jackson's, and this is the signature #1 set. I think it actually comes with a really nice assortment of colours. There's some slightly less usual colours than you'd normally get in a 12 set of watercolours, like this fig green and this olive green deep, a lovely granulating mixed colour. Also harbour blue and notturno, and I think the aquamarine as well aren't your standard basic 12-pack starter colours, so I was really happy with this. I decided to add to it though with 14 extra colours so that I could fit them into a 26 pan palette. So that's what I'm going to be swatching out today. The individually sold pans, half pans, come in these little packets. Again, they're watercolour paper with actual watercolour swatched onto them. And they're so like opening little sweet packets. It's really, really nice. So these are the additional colours that I bought. And I'll get on with swatching them. The brush that came in my set is this Tintoretto #6 travel brush, and I was really pleasantly surprised when I started using it. It's a really, really lovely brush. So I'm not going to speed through these swatchings like I normally do. I want to let you see how the paints lay down and also how this brush operates. So we'll take our time with this one. The first thing I notice when I start painting with them and will re-wet them is a really subtle but lovely smell of rosemary, one of the ingredients in the paints. I thought as I go along I'll show you some comparison paints as well. So here we have buff titanium, we've got Daniel Smith on the left and the Gallo on the right. They're pretty similar. I've used both of them quite a bit now and haven't noticed a huge amount of difference. There's maybe a very slight colour difference. Next up is Azo Yellow. It's a really, really kind of true yellow, I'd say. And here it is shown with some other yellows. Here's the Azo Yellow. You can see the lemon yellows here. It's warmer, a lot warmer than those. Not quite as warm as Sennelier's Yellow Light. Then we have a lovely light orange called Arancione. Quite a few of A. Gallo's paints are mixed pigments. I don't have a huge amount of oranges. The closest that I have to Arancione is Daniel Smith's Quinacridone Deep Gold. Then we have Vermilion. Which is a single pigment one this time. I've been using the A. Gallo paints for a few weeks now, and I have to say I really am enjoying them very much. Most of them re-wet beautifully. I just don't really have any complaints about them at all. So here we have A. Gallo's Vermilion in between Daniel Smith's Pyrrole Scarlet and Sennelier's French Vermilion. And they're all really, really quite similar. This is Ruby Red, PR264. I don't have many of these cooler, darker reds. The closest that I have is Roman Schmoll's Pyrrole Rubin. And next to it here is A. Gallo's Ruby Red. This is Quinacridone Magenta, PR122. This is the only one out of all the 26 paints which I bought, which isn't an excellent light fast rating. This one is categorised as good. So here we have A. Gallo's Quinacridone Magenta. And the closest ones I have here are Daniel Smith's Mayan Violet, although the Quinacridone Magenta doesn't have the same granulation as the Mayan Violet. And Sennelier's Permanent Magenta is a little bit darker. And the other PR122s that I have, Roman Schmoll's Magenta, Winsor & Newton Opera Rose, much brighter hues. This is Pietra Rose. It's the first one that is a little bit harder to re-wet, and it has much less colour payoff. But it's a very, very pretty mix of pigments. It's PR233, PV19, PV16. So here we have it. I think the closest pink I have is Daniel Smith's Durachrome Hibiscus, which is next to it. My video missed out me swatching the next three colours. So here we have Tyrian Purple. I was saying that probably of the whole palette, this is my least favourite of the Gallo paints. It re-wets with more difficulty and has quite a limited colour payoff. But purples aren't really my all-time favourites anyway, so that might contribute. I'll show you it here. It's very similar in hue to Sennelier's Dioxazine Purple, though it's just much less saturated in pigment. Next up, I painted Notturno, which seems to be a favourite among lots of people who are talking about Gallo paints. It's a mixture of three pigments, PB29, PR101, PV19. I don't have anything that similar to it. Here it is here. It's really quite a lovely granulating paint. And then next I swatched out in Throne Blue. It's quite similar to Daniel Smith's Indan Throne Blue. This is Daniel Smith's and then Gallo's. But I did feel that the Gallo Indan Throne seems to fade a bit when it dries. So I'll show you these paints when they have all dried, and we'll take a look at that. Next is Ultramarine. And here it is with my other ultramarines. So we have Gallo here. Now the only other ultramarines I have are Sennelier's Aquamarine Deep and Daniel Smith's French Ultramarine. They're all PB29 pigments. And finally for this page, I have Cerulean Hue. So this is a mixed pigment, PB15:3, PW4, PB29. So it has got that white pigment in it, making it more opaque. And here it is compared to my other cerulean blues. So next we've got Definitely one of my favourites out of the Gallo colours, and this is Copper Blue. I'm going to switch brushes because, whoops, I'm swatching brushes because while the Tintoretto brush is lovely, it's got, I'll show you, it's got quite a pointy tip, which is a little bit harder to control in the corners of these swatches. So that's the Tintoretto. So I'm just going to switch to my my silver black velvet number 8 for the rest of the swatches. Oh, it's such a pretty colour. So this is a pastel with PW4, PG7, PB15:3 and PY3. Okay, so here it is, and the closest colour I have is Daniel Smith's Fuchsite Genuine, which has a little bit of shimmer to it. So yeah, it's a bit different. Okay, then we've got Teal Blue. Which has a bit of opacity again. It's PB15:3, PG7 and PW6. I don't have anything identical to it. These are all other turquoises. Daniel Smith's Sleeping Beauty is probably the closest, but it's still quite different. And then we have Aquamarine Blue. So here's the aquamarine in my swatch book. I'd say it's probably, although it's not even on the same row, it's probably most similar to Winsor & Newton's Phthalo Turquoise, though it's a mixture of pigments, PB15:4, PG7, PB29. Okay, next up is another favourite, which quite a lot of other people seem to be enjoying as well, and that's Harbour Blue. Again, it's another mix, PB15:3 and PBR8. Yeah, that's lovely. And again, I don't have anything quite like it. Here it is here. This is Dark Forest, and I really like this kind of perylene green type colour. as you can see in my swatch book, where are we? This is A. Gallo's Dark Forest, and then this is Roman Schmoll's Perylene Green. They're fairly close, though again totally different pigments. Perylene Green's PBK 31, A. Gallo's Dark Forest is a mixture of PG7, PBK 7, PY 43. And then we have Forest Green, which is all the same pigments as Dark Forest. So here's A. Gallo's Forest Green, and it's pretty similar to Sennelier's Forest Green. The only difference is Sennelier Forest Green has PY 42 and A. Gallo has PY 43. This is Viridian Hue. It's not a standard PG18 Viridian. It's a mixture of PG7 just with PB29. I don't have a Viridian paint in its own right. The closest I've got is Roman Schmoll's Phthalo Green Blue shade, with just the PG7 on its own. And here's A. Gallo's Viridian. Next is Earth Green. This doesn't have a high pigment load at all, and it's quite hard to re-wet. But it is nice. It's a really nice colour. Again, I don't have any other earth greens to compare it to. Sorry, I should say it's Earth Green Cool. The closest colours are Derwent Pastel Shade Artichoke and Roman Schmoll's Malachite. The next colour was kind of a surprise to me. I'm not usually much of a like spring green, pale green kind of fan. And this fig green came in the Signature 1 set of 12. But I actually really like it. It's kind of got it's got something subtle about it that makes it just not seem that garish. It's PY 151, PG 17. Since getting it, I also bought a Holbein pastel set of paints, and Holbein Leaf Green is very similar to it, but there's something slightly more muted, kind of maybe more of a brown tint in the fig green. But yeah, I really like that one. Okay, this is a green that I've been really enjoying since I bought this set. And this also comes in the original Signature 1 set of 12. And that's Olive Green Deep. I'll show you this one when it's dried, because it does fun things. Okay, so here's the olive green deep, and it granulates and separates really nicely, and I'd say it's probably going to end up being up there along with Daniel Smith Undersea Green. They're not the same, but they're both really lovely. So this is another colour that came in the original Signature 1 set, and it's transparent red oxide. Just a fairly standard PR 101. So here's the transparent red oxide, and it's pretty similar to Winsor & Newton's Burnt Sienna, which again is PR 101. The transparent red oxide probably has a touch more light granulation. Okay, then next we have the heavily pigmented and opaque Moraloni. And again, I'd say it's a pretty standard PR 101. So here's the Moraloni, and I'd say it's pretty comparable with Roman Szmul's Caput Mortuum, Winsor & Newton's Caput Mortuum Violet, and even Daniel Smith's Indian Red. There's not a huge amount between any of these really. Oops, sorry, missed. So there's Roman Szmul's Caput Mortuum. Okay, the last two that I've got are firstly Chromite Brown. This one's a little bit harder to re-wet, but I think it's a really nice cool brown. With some lovely granulation. Okay, so here it is on my brown page, Chromite Brown. And in hue it's most similar to my Sennelier Warm Sepia. And last of all we have Paynes Gray. This is a really blue leaning Paynes Gray, and I really like it. I don't think there's an awful lot of difference between A. Gallo's Indigo and this Paynes Gray actually, though their Indigo is less light fast, so I chose this one. Okay, so here it is compared with a couple of other Paynes Grays. This is A. Gallo's, and then Daniel Smith's Paynes Gray and Sennelier's Paynes Gray. I'm back with the dried watercolours now. Let's take a look at them. One thing I've noticed with the A. Gallo watercolours is that they don't seem to flow as much as other brands. I think I like Daniel Smith so much just because they so many of the paints do seem to flow, or the ones that I've chosen do. The paint seems to stay where it's put more with the Gallo paints. I wouldn't say that's a negative though, just a different way of working with paint. They are very beautiful. This is the lovely olive green deep with its granulation. Sorry, it's not quite dried in that top corner yet. There's the lovely granulation of the chromite brown. And looking at it in this sunlight, there's actually a subtle bit of sparkle to it. So here they are all again in my 26 palette I put together myself. This is just a generic palette from Amazon, and I took the sticker off the palette which I bought from Gallo. To be honest, they're actually they're very similar quality and style of palette, so I'm quite happy with this one that I bought. And I'll take all of these out of the smaller palette, and I've bought some little pans, empty pans that I'll put in, and I'll put together a new palette from my watercolour tubes at some point. So thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you soon. Bye.